All right, everybody, welcome in. This is Your Fielder's Choice. My name is Adam, also known as at YFC Sports V12, and I'm joined by my guy at YFC Sports J Sal 10. Josh, you're bringing us some coverage of the Phoenix Open DFS golf, guys. So if you've checked out the preview, obviously we're here to have Josh kind of walk you through a little bit of the plays, a little bit of the advice on how to approach golf DFS. If you're new to it, excellent. This is going to be a short video. It's going to be very, very easy to follow and going to give you some good lists of some guys to target as well. Josh, how you doing this evening?
Good, man. Excited to talk about this tournament. All the big guys are playing, so it should be fun.
Yeah, man. And I think last time we kind of talked a little bit about EuroLeague basketball, and we wanted to kind of cover some sports that are not receiving as much coverage. That they're a little bit more niche, I guess you could say. But obviously, golf has huge prize pools. This is actually, I want you to tell me a little bit about this tournament and about what we can expect in regards to the real golf aspect. I mean, I go out there and I tend to hack my way through 18 and have some drinks and some beverages. So I have a lot of fun with it, but these are the pros here. So tell me what about this tournament and what we should expect with it.
Yeah. So this is always one of the more fun tournaments, especially for the fans, right? They're kind of got the famous par 3 16th hole that I think last year when guys would make aces, they'd have to take a delay to clean the hole because everyone's throwing stuff out there. So no, but it's a good time. And this is actually one of the 2 events they've elevated this year. So the purse is traditionally been around 8.5 million, and it's up to 20 million this year. So they got some extra sponsors, bumped it up. I think the winner takes home 3.6 million. So this is really the first big tournament of the year. So it's bringing all the big golfers, right? 18 of the top 20 in the world ranking will be here, and we'll see some guys we hadn't seen, Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry, Tyrrell Hatton, some of those guys that have been playing on the world tour over in Europe will be here for this big one. So should be exciting.
Yeah, man. Anytime we get the big boys, like I said, the top guys are out there. So we talked a little bit pre-show of a couple guys that you like, a couple guys that I like. I know you're going to touch a little bit more on there. I'll throw some stuff here and there. But yeah. So guys, if this is your first time checking out one of our videos, we appreciate you. Make sure if you're on YouTube or any of our other streaming apps to hit the like and subscribe. We do appreciate that as well. You can check us out at yourfielderschoice.com. We have our Twitter handles below. Also in the comments, there will be the Discord link for you to be able to jump in and check out our free Discord. Obviously, if you do subscribe right now, we have an excellent price at yourfielderschoice.com that gives you access to all of the premium sports. And yeah, man, we're excited. So we're going to jump right in, Josh, and we're going to get started. I know we have, let's see, your high price targets. So these are guys, I'm assuming over 9K, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna real quick before we do that. So we're getting away from the Pro-Am and some of the courses we've had too. So it's this is played at TPC Scottsdale, same course it's always been. 132 players, your usual 65 in ties cut line after Friday. So kind of back to what we are used to from seeing on these tours. And it's a par 71, little bit over 7,200 yards. So it's a little bit longer for a par 71. So just before we get into the players, I'll talk about a couple key stats we kind of look at so I can mention as we get there, right? So
yeah, I want you to talk about the key stats, but I also want you to talk a little bit about this just DFS, just the general lineup building, and maybe if these guys are brand new to this.
Yeah. And so, with a tournament like this, where you have all the big names, you typically just find yourself working into what we call like a stars and scrubs build. So you usually want to have more than one of those top guys, but they're going to cost you. So then you end up down there scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to find some value guys that you're really just looking to make the cut. This is a big tournament with big names, and it's not typical long shots that win. So it's some of these top guys we're going to talk about and go through. Those are guys that are probably going to win, right? As most of us know, Vegas's odds are usually right, and so they price them that way. So we'll look at stuff like stroke gains off the tee, ball striking. These are metrics of guys that can really drive the ball far as well with accuracy. They're getting on greens in regulation. We're in Phoenix. It's a desert style course, so it's pretty open. So a lot of guys are going to be aggressive off the tee. So we want guys that can do that well. Guys like Rahm and McIlroy, some of those guys who are well known to hit big drives. And then with approach shots, right? So I mentioned this is a little bit longer. So there are quite a few holes where they can bomb a drive and they're still going to have 170, 180 left in. So obviously, as with all courses, you want guys that are great with their irons. They hit that club more than anything. And if they can get on the green and give themselves a chance to putt for birdie, these greens should be pretty easy. They'll be pretty firm and pretty quick, but that's how the pros like it. Putting we'll look at probably not weigh as much. And then two other things I've kind of dug into is par 4 scoring. So as a par 71, there's only 3 par 5s. There's 11 par 4s, 1 extra. And the 3 hardest holes on the course are all par 4s that are over 450 yards long, right? If you get guys that can score well on those 4s and really get pars on those specific 4s, that's going to do well for them, right? All 3 of the par 5s are pretty reachable in 2. So really focusing on guys that score well on the 4s is going to do us well. And then lastly, there's always a ton of chip ins here. So for those long holes, right, if the guys aren't on the green, but they're just off of it, looking at guys who are really good with that, sand wedge, little pitching wedge and gaining strength around the green. That's something we like to look at as well. So
that's my game, man. That's scrambling right there. That's what we do. Like we may not get on in regulation, but we got to get up and down. So
yeah, make it happen. So and there's a lot of players play here every year. They play well, so we can look at course history. I think that speaks pretty well to it. I think the last 6 winners, all of them finished in the top 20 in like the prior year or year before. So a lot of guys that play well end up winning and continuing to play well. So I think in this case, not always, but I think in this case at this course, it's something to take into account. So
okay, all right,
but yeah, we can dive right into to these top guys now.
Yeah, so let's obviously we have world number 1, 2, and 3 here. These guys are priced up at the top. I'm gonna let you kind of lead the way. So Rahm's at the top, right?
Yeah. So you got Rahm, McIlroy, and Scheffler. So Scheffler did win this tournament last year. He was 17th the year before, so kind of fitting that trend of top 20 and then winning. And he's, it's viable for him to run it back. But I really think when we're talking about just golf, the game as it is right now, it's a 2-horse race, and Rahm and McIlroy are a little bit head and shoulders above the rest of the field, right? These guys are playing pretty out of their mind. Rahm has a couple wins already this year. I think he finishes top 10, in all the tournaments. All his metrics are just nuts, right? And he's got really great history here. He's the last 5 years, I'll read it off. He was 10th, 13th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. That's consistency, right?
Yeah, that's pretty
and
insane.
Then on the other yeah. And then on the other side, you have Rory, right? Rory has only played here once. It was 2 years ago. He did finish 13th. But he's been dominating everywhere else in the world outside of the PGA Tour, right? So he won the Tour Championship, and then his next 6 starts after the Tour Championship between PGA and the DP World Tour: 2nd, 4th, 1st, 4th, and 1st. So you just got 2 guys that are just playing out of their minds right now, right? And I would say you can't go wrong either way. McIlroy's 200 cheaper on DK. I maybe lean a little bit towards McIlroy, not so much just because of the price, but when you look at some of the metrics, right, you're talking about a guy that last year he was 3rd in strokes gained off the tee, 3rd in par 4 scoring, 9th in ball striking, 14th in strokes gained approach. I mean, he's a top 15 player in almost every metric we look at, right?
Right.
Rahm's up there too, but I think Rory's a little bit better on his approach shots and maybe a slightly better putter, while Rahm's a little bit better off the tee. So it's kind of rolling the dice who you like.
Right.
I think
I would say, Rahm is definitely the guy that he has the experience here. I mean, if we really want to cut it down the line, I think Rory's a better golfer. I get it, but I think that Rory right now, he's just playing. I mean, he's been insane to watch. And the fact that he's so good at every single aspect of the game, like you said, you need to be able to hit your long irons, and he has incredible control. He can do anything he wants. And so like right now, I mean, he's who I would lean towards. I could definitely see people like, hey, I want to get a little bit different and play Rahm. But I mean, you're saving money with Rory too, even though it's only 200. Right.
Yeah. And like I said, you can talk me into both. And I'm not gonna argue with you. Right. So,
for sure.
So, yeah. And so after that, like I said, Scotty won last year. He's fine. He's been putting pretty poorly. That's really the downside. That'd be the only reason I would potentially stay away. I think he's actually losing strokes putting. He's like 153rd. But the guy right below him, Tony Finau, is someone that I'm a big Tony Finau fan in general. And despite his lack of really success here, he's missed the cut a couple times. He did finish second 3 years ago. But I mean, this year he's just playing out of his mind right now. He's playing the best golf of his life. He's literally top 10 in gaining strokes on approach, putting, par 4 scoring, ball striking. If you really grade out his metrics, he's right there with Rahm, just in terms of looking at straight data and what he's been doing consistently, right? He has a couple wins and he seems to always be in the hunt. So I think he's a really good GPP target. I don't think a lot of people will be on him. And I think if you want to be different, there's no reason that Finau can't give us a top 5 finish, right?
Yeah, and I've honestly never seen him priced. I don't play a ton of DFS golf, but when I do, I like him a lot, and I've never seen him priced above 10K. So that's new to me. But yeah, I mean, like you said, if you look at
how he's playing right now,
yeah, he's playing great right now. So all right, good deal. Who else you like?
Yeah. So and so my other guy, I kind of mentioned Rory in that Rahm Rory battle. The other guy that I like for kind of single entry cash is Xander Schauffele, right? He's next right below Tony. He's a guy that I really like. I think if you want to be bold and you want to fade Rahm and McIlroy, I think you can start with Xander and be pretty safe. Schauffele finished third last year, second the year before, 16th before, 10th before that. I mean, this is probably the guy who has the best course history without a win. So maybe he's due. He's obviously playing incredible golf, right? He's a good golfer. He had the back injury he withdrew from like a month ago, but that seems to be past. He got 13th in his last tournament, and he got third the tournament before. So I think we're probably safe to say we're past that. Another guy that's 16th in gaining strokes with his irons, 11th straight gaining strokes putting, 9th in par 4 scoring, and he's one of the best with his touch around the green. He's 5th. So guys that kind of do everything, as we're talking about these top guys, those are the guys that are going to find success here. So I really like Xander this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of good things about him too. I love that, yeah, I don't know. He's a good putter. So, and he hits the ball well. So we should see. I don't know. I kind of lean towards these Americans just because, I'm a USA guy. So I definitely like him a lot here. We talked a little bit about the guy underneath him, Max Homa. So, I mean, do you like him? Because I really do. I mean, I'm leaning between him and Matsuyama right now.
Yeah, no. If you're looking at stats from this current season, you're not going to find much better than Homa, right? He's got 2 wins already. He's coming off a win in his last tournament he played in, and he won at the beginning of the 2022-23 season. Another guy similar to Finau who's just playing the best golf of his life right now. And when he's on, he can play with anyone, right? A really, really, really good ball striker. He's 11th in ball striking, and that's basically a combination of driving distance, accuracy, and how many greens guys are hitting in regulation. So if you're a great ball striker, you're just a good golfer, right? But another guy who's top 20 in putting, approach, par 4 scoring, just no flaws to his game, right? And he's playing out of his mind right now. It's for me, you have a toss up between Homa and Xander. I only lean Xander because of his good history at the course.
Right.
But Homa finished 14th last year. He finished 6th a couple years ago. So he's played here enough. He's got some rounds under his belt. I like both of them. I don't think you can go wrong either way.
Yeah. I think that's almost your just traditional GPP versus cash conversation. You know what I mean? Like Homa can win, and he could also be barely top 20. And so I think that kind of sums it up on there.
And one thing I'll say about Max, I've heard some podcasts, seen some interviews he does. He is definitely a guy who plays to the moment, and that's another thing at this tournament. A lot of holes are loud. It's a pretty rambunctious group of people that come to these tournaments. So those players who thrive off of that crowd energy, I mean, and that's someone like Xander who's got a little bit of swagger to him. Like those are guys that they're going to thrive off that, and they're going to want to hit good shots just to get the crowd going. So,
all right, man, love it.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
I wanted to touch on Justin Thomas real quick. I'm not particularly on him this week, just due to he really just hasn't been playing well. He's really struggling with his irons. His putting has been even worse than Schauffele's, who we talked about. But that's another guy. His last 5 starts here: 8th, 13th, 3rd, and 17th. So if you're a big course history guy, and you want to save a little bit, maybe go a GPP route and hope that he gets back to the form that he's shown he has. I think he's a good play here, and he will get back to the form. I want to see a tournament where he kind of puts it all together first. So
okay, that's fair.
Yeah, and then we'll get down to we got Cantlay and Matsuyama you spoke of. So Matsuyama is another guy. He's won here twice. It was 5 or 6 years ago. But even since then, right, he finished 8th last year. He has a 15th, a 16th. He's probably played more rounds here than almost any of these top guys and just pretty much been successful, right? He's going to make the cut. He's probably going to finish in the top 20. Really, really solid golfer. You can't go wrong with him. He's playing pretty average this year, but he probably has a little room for improvement. His irons haven't been as good as what he's known for. But I wouldn't be worried. I think at his price, I think he can pay off for you. And then Cantlay is, I think, going to be a popular play, mainly because he was actually lost in the playoff with Scheffler last year, so he was second. But that was his only start here. He's a golfer that he has the tools to do everything, right? He obviously has proven, he can play with anyone. Great ball strike, awesome on par 4 scoring, really good off the tee. But another guy that struggled a little bit this year with his irons. So I'd be a little careful with Cantlay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Cantlay's always one of those guys that, I feel like he's always there. He's always in the hunt, but I don't know. He is priced up a little bit, and, you really want, if you're paying over $9K, let me ask you this. What is your expectation from a DFS output? Are you wanting them to get 90 or what do you feel like? A top 5 finish? I mean, that's what you're aiming for?
So if you have, I think there's 15 golfers that are priced 9K or above with 5 of them 10K or higher. For me, if I'm paying for a guy above 9K, the possibility of winning, I want more than the possibility. I want to see a path of, man, this guy has all the tools. I would not be surprised if he wins. And then you want that floor, right? You don't want a guy who maybe, and Cantlay to me kind of fits that mold of a guy, man, if he's on, he could win. He could also finish 40th, right? And if you're paying 9K, you need guys in the top 10 just because that means they're getting birdies, they're getting eagles, get the extra DraftKings points. And they can creep up towards that 100 marker, right? So if you pay over 9K and really anything outside the top 10, probably a little disappointed. And obviously not all of them can make it. So that's why we look into the stats to see who we like.
Okay.
And the last guy I want to mention in this 9K, and it's at the bottom, is Sungjae Im. This is a guy whose game just lines up perfectly for this course. He didn't play last year, but he did finish 17th and 7th the years prior. And Sungjae's pretty well known as a ball striker. He's a pretty big dude. If you've seen him golf, he's a big guy. So he's known for gaining strokes off the tee and his ball striking. But he's also another guy that's like in, worst case, he's like in the 30s to 40s in rankings and everything. So he's gaining strokes all over. His numbers are a little lopsided this year because he had a horrible start at the Sony Open. But outside of that, I think he's got 6 finishes inside the top 20. So I think he's a guy that can easily have a top 10 finish here. I think he can compete. This course sets up really, really well for him. So
yeah, he's good. He's a good golfer, man. Honestly, he's very underrated. I mean, people see him, they're like, it's nothing. I don't see a ton of wins, right? But he's super solid. I mean, he like you said, it's not necessarily always about the finish. It is big, but whenever you can make up ground and you're playing where you're trying to catch the leader or whatever, sometimes these guys, it's tough whenever you're at the top. You got to really pay attention to the scoring format and everything like that. I know that, if you've never played DFS golf, you guys are new to it. Obviously, per hole scoring is big, right? You're going to get 3 points for a birdie. You're going to get a half a point for par, but you only lose a half a point for a bogey. So it doesn't really kill you. You get lucky, get an eagle. That's 8 points, right?
Yep.
Double bogey is only -1, and then worse than that's a -1. But you can get birdie streaks. You can get a bogey-free rounds. Holes in one are very rare, but obviously they're on there. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. And then obviously where you're finished at, your tournament finish scoring is based off of, a big bonus for the winner, 30 points for the winner, 20 for second, 18 for third. You're talking about a big gap for that winner. So, if you can finish in the top 7 or up, that's 10 points all the way to 30. So you'll be able to make up some ground there too. So obviously playing good golf, anything under par is good, but you really want to be able to finish pretty decent if you can. So, all right, cool, man. So, kind of saying that you're kind of moving towards the mid-range here. Who are some targets that you're looking at that we should consider?
Yeah, so near the very top of that range, Cam Young at 8,900. I like him. He's volatile, but I like him here at this tournament. So he was the PGA Rookie of the Year for last season. He was pretty awesome, and I think he can play well here. He struggled a bit with his putter and a bit around the green. But another guy probably similar to Cantlay, but you can get, a $600-700 savings for a guy that has the skills to win. So I think he's pretty interesting there at the top of the range. And then after that, I kind of find myself working down a little bit closer to right around 8K. You got guys like Ricky Fowler, who's won here and had some really good finishes. He has missed the cut the last 2 years, but if you've been following this season, he's kind of having a resurgent season a little bit, kind of putting everything back together. He's always been known as a bad putter, and even that he's gotten to where he is slightly gaining strokes with his putter, and everything else is coming together. Another guy that we know thrives with the fans, right? He likes that environment. So I think Ricky's interesting. He's priced in an interesting spot because he's been playing well, and I think his course history's here. They put him, right at 8K. But I think it's a good spot for him. And right below him.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to talk a little bit about my guy Keegan Bradley too. So I don't know if he's next on your list or not, but
so
go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say because I have some stuff I read up on him, so I really like. So go ahead, tell me what you like about Keegan Bradley. Only good stuff, Josh. Only good stuff.
Right. Yeah. No. So I like Keegan Bradley's price is really what it comes down to, right? He's been playing pretty well. He's a guy. I think he just finished second, I believe, in his last tournament. Yeah. I was going to verify that. Yeah, second place at the Farmers Open. He also won this year at the Zozo Championship. So he has shown the ability to win, right? To win tournaments, to be at the top. Another guy that you're not going to find him in really like top 5, top 10 of any stats, but you're also going to find that he gains strokes in all areas. He's, I think, around 60th with his approach clubs. He's in the 40s putting. He's 30th on par 4 scoring, 41st, I think, in ball striking. So this is a guy that is gaining strokes in all areas. He's an above average golfer in all areas. And he doesn't really have any flaws. So he's one of those guys that he feels kind of safe for 7,700 in terms of a guy that's going to get to the weekend. And it wouldn't surprise me to see a top 20, a top 15 finish from him. He's playing well. So I think he's in a good spot here.
And I know he made, I think it's 8 of the past 10 cuts, obviously 4 top 25s. He always plays his tournament. I like watching him play. I mean, he's another guy that there's just certain guys on tour that I really like in there. But I mean, you're right. He's good at gaining ground. He's good at gaining strokes. So I think that these all around golfers, anytime you get someone there, at 7,700, dude, if you're making the cut and you can make a top 15 finish, that's a hell of a value, I think.
Yeah, realistically, when you get into these mid to low sevens, you're really looking for guys that you feel like safe that they'll make the cut and have that upside to maybe creep into that top 20, top 15. But if a guy makes a cut, that means he's playing 2 extra rounds of golf. And as you mentioned, just racking up birdies, racking up, eagles, even pars, they get points for it. So just playing 36 extra holes of golf is a huge difference. So
100%. Yeah.
One other guy I wanted to mention in this range is right below Ricky for 7,900 is Jason Day. Another guy who's, played really well a couple years ago and people probably hadn't heard of, but he's really kind of revamped his game and he's gotten back to where he's playing really, really good golf right now. I mean, so far this season, he's 14th in par 4 scoring. He's 16th in ball striking, 18th with his irons, 34th putting, 38th off the tee. I mean, this is a top 40 guy in almost all of the metrics so far this season. And obviously, playing really well. He only played here once 2 years ago. He missed the cut, but that was kind of in that time where he wasn't playing well. Like, he had a couple injuries he went through. But he's playing great. I think he's got 5 top 20 finishes, a couple inside the top 10. So yeah, looking at it, he's got an 8, 11, 7, 16, 18, 21. I mean, the guy's just playing really well right now. And I think the course sets up well for him. So he's a guy, if you find yourself needing someone in that mid-range around the Fowler, Jason Day, I would probably lean Jason. He's playing well. And then also last guy in this little area is a guy, Alex Noren. He's a guy that I wasn't too familiar with, but I read up a couple things on him and kind of started digging into some stats on him. And he had a couple things that jumped out at me a little bit, mainly being that he's got 3 straight top 5 finishes in his last 3 tournaments. Right. 2 on the World Tour. But I mean, just whether you're playing on the World Tour or you're playing in a PGA tournament, to finish top 5 3 straight times means you're playing pretty good golf. So he's interesting here. He's another guy that plays pretty well, doesn't have a whole lot of flaws. He's really good in his short game and good on the green. And so he's 7,600. So I think another guy in that Keegan Bradley range that very easily could make a run at a top 20 here. And you catch him right when he's in the midst of playing some of his best golf. So.
Yeah, I have 2 golfers right now in my main lineup that I'm looking at. They're both priced at 7,300. Do you want to guess one of them? Maybe 2?
If I had to guess, I'm guessing maybe the Postman, JT Poston.
Yeah, he's definitely one. He's my favorite.
And a guy that I'm a big fan of is Chris Kirk. But I don't know.
You got them both? You got them both, brother?
Look at that. Yep. Yeah, so I have both of those guys on my list as now we're creeping into the value. I consider value 7,400 and below. These are guys that we really, truly, if they make the cut, we're pretty happy because you're playing probably 2 guys in this 7,400 and below range because that's what you got to do to fit a couple of those guys in that high price range. And if you get 2 guys that in this range that can make the cut and you find yourself with 6 golfers in the cut, there's a very, very, very good chance you're going to cash. You're definitely going to cash double ups. And good chance you're going to get into some of these single entry tournaments and some GPPs and stuff like that. Six golfers into the weekend is hard to do. So,
talking about Postman here, 4 straight top 25 finishes. Just this year alone, 2023. I mean, he obviously got the 6th at the American Express, but I mean, just looking at just from a log standpoint, obviously he's pretty hot right now. And I'm not sure. I don't think he's missed a cut here. I think every time he's played, right, he's made every cut.
Yeah, I think this season, going back, this year, I should say, I think he's made like 6 straight, but I know he missed a cut back in October or something, which technically the PGA Tour season runs from like September to September.
But not here, not in Scottsdale. I don't think.
No, at Phoenix, he has good history here. I don't think he has any super high finishes. Right. But I know he hasn't missed cuts. But that kind of speaks to Poston's game, especially when he's been playing now, right? He really doesn't miss cuts. Right. He's a guy that usually has some pretty good things. And he's a guy that just, if he actually put, all 4 or 5 facets of his game together, this is a guy that could easily be priced around $9K, right? Because he can compete. Yeah, he's a really, really good ball striker. He finds a lot of greens in regulation. So, he gets putting going. If the putter gets hot, he's definitely someone to watch out for. I don't know if you watched him play. He stands almost straight up when he putts, and it just it's interesting to watch. But I'm a big Poston fan. And then you mentioned Chris Kirk. So between those 2 guys, if you're picking one, I personally lean Chris Kirk. I'm a Chris Kirk guy. I actually wrote about him in the article where he for the week that he went out and I'm trying to blank on the name of the tournament, but the Sony Open I wrote about him. He finished 3rd. And then if you look the next week, and I was like, maybe it was a fluke. Nope, finished 3rd again, right? So his last 2 tournaments, he got 2 third place finishes. A dude that just playing really well. He's He
Yeah.
scores on par fours really well. 23rd on tour for a dude that's 7,300 on DraftKings is pretty wild. He's 46th around the green, 50th in putting, 55th in ball striking, 36th with his approach. I mean, this is a really, really, really good iron player. And to get those numbers, to get, 5 of our key metrics as a top 50 golfer for this price is pretty wild. So I really like Chris Kirk here. I just think he's too cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 7,300, but I mean, we're kind of getting down to the end of it. So, I mean, you're going to have to grab at least one punt play. I feel like anytime I make a golf lineup, I feel like there's at least one guy under 7K in my lineup, just the way I usually build. I have one guy here that I like a lot, but give me one, or if you have two, as we kind of wrap this up, who you like here.
Yeah. So my true punt is 6,800. It's Hayden Buckley. This is I don't know if you guys have seen him, but this is a big dude, and he is Rom-like off the tee, which is crazy to say. I mean, he's 3rd in strokes gained off the tee on tour this season and 5th in ball striking. His putting's average, his approach is okay. So this is that punt play where you're looking for a guy that can bomb it off the tee and just set himself up, where he just needs to be decent with his other clubs to put his game together. And he's done that, right? He's played well. And I really like that approach. And I think when you get down to this punt play, you got to look, there's 2 ways people win here. You either win by gaining a ton of strokes off the tee, hitting big drives in good spots, or you win with the short game. You look at guys like Scheffler, Koepka, these are guys that got hot with the putters and hit big drives. But you go look at Webb Simpson, who won 3 years ago. He's not a big driver, but he gained over 6 strokes with his irons. So I think when you get in this punt play, you really want to find someone that's elite in one of those categories and run with it. And I think Buckley's in a kind of in a spot here that makes a lot of sense, right? He finished 2nd 2 tournaments ago. So, I mean, he can finish near the top. So that's one. And then the other guy is actually $100 cheaper than him is Jonathan Vegas. It's a golfer that I just like. I think he plays well. And he's another guy that has some pretty good metrics off the tee. He's a bit of a big hitter. And I think he's a guy that surprisingly kind of makes a fair amount of cuts for really where he's priced at. And so I don't really have any issues playing him. I think he's got, in 3 starts, I think he has a 25th and a 16th place finish. He did miss a cut, but I mean, he's got the stuff to make a cut. There's, he could sneak you into the top 40. And like we said, when you're under 7K, you just want guys playing into the weekend. So,
yeah. I mean, down here, like I said, it gets a little ugly. I will say that, but there's 2 guys that I'm kind of looking at that I like. 6,900 Luke List. I feel like anytime I get a golfer that, has top 15 upside at this price, but is coming in pretty hot, just at the Farmers Insurance Open. Obviously, he came in at 25th. I mean, that's pretty impressive for the price tag that we're looking at. I think that he does have some course history here. I don't know a ton about him. I've seen him play a couple different times, but just kind of looking at guys that are, kind of hot going into this tournament, I'm like, okay, he's somebody, 6,900 we could take a stab at, but there's a guy all the way down, and I don't know if he's going to make the cut or not, but at 6,300, you got Kevin Tway. So,
you talked about – you just named 2 guys who so Luke List is 7th this season in strokes gained off the tee. He's also really good at this approach. The only reason he's been bad is he has lost so many strokes on the green. But if he's just putts, if Luke List just putts average, even just a slightly below average, he'll make a cut. He's a bomber. He hits it well off the tee, and
so that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. You don't really need to be a great putter; just be good enough, right?
Yeah, if you're hitting bomb, putting yourself in good positions, you're not asking for much. And Kevin Tway is the perfect example. He's someone that I think I've come across in every single tournament the last 3-4 times I've been doing write-ups, looking at stats, and he's always someone who, I'll take a shot on him, right? And I think you can here, right? If you really have to get down that low, then you kind of just want to see, okay, who's played here a couple times? Have they made a couple cuts? How have they been playing recently? When you get down into that really below like 6,500 range, I think you're really gambling then. But there's definitely guys that you can look at, because there will be guys below 6,500 that do make the cut. So it's all about, trying to find those right guys to kind of round out your lineup.
Yeah, man. Well, guys, like I said, I know we're kind of just ending everything. And I know that, with this tournament, Josh got me excited. Now I'm going to have to play way too much money on this one, make some GPP lineups. I'm probably going to make like 75 and some optimizer stuff now just to the guys, because I mean, it's exciting. I'll have an opportunity to actually watch this tournament some. So, this is a fun one. If you guys don't watch a lot of golf, this is a good one to watch. You'll enjoy it, I think. Like I said, can't say that for all of them, but this one for sure. It's definitely the working man's crowd, like Josh said before. They get excited. So, man, just any last thoughts as we kind of round it out here that you want to leave us with?
No, I think we talked about a lot of guys. We talked about some metrics, talk about guys that hit the big balls. These fairways are pretty forgiving and take some shots, but it's a great precursor into the Super Bowl on Sunday, right? You'll get to watch some fun golf and then go right into Super Bowl Sunday. So this is it should be a good time.
I tell you what, I don't want you bothering me on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm watching my Eagles play, so I'll go and I'll show. Hey, look, this is the lineups that I'm playing. Then I'm out. I'm radio silent. I have to watch my guys play. So like I said, go Birds, and I'm excited about Super Bowl. Obviously, I'll probably drop some stuff in our Discord. So if you guys haven't already checked us out, there's the free Discord link in the chat. Be sure to do that. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, that thumbs up. We do appreciate it as always, guys. Like I said, www.yourfielderschoice.com. We have the special right now, all sports. That's giving you premium access to all the articles that go on our website, premium Discord access as well. It gives you access to coaches like myself and Josh and our other team members that are hanging out in the premium chat. As always, you'll probably see some soccer content from me here as the weekends come up, and then obviously some Super Bowl content as well. And I just, spoiler alert, play as many Eagles as you can, because they're going to dominate. So, Josh, man, I appreciate you. Thank you as always for dropping this amazing content. Are we going to also do you have an article that's going to accompany this? So
I'll have an article that'll drop on our website. Probably will be early tomorrow morning, and then along in our Discord, drop some cores and prize picks. Right, usually prize picks board will drop.
Man, you've been hot. I know you've been chasing that 6 out of 6. It's 5 out of 6, 5 out of 6. Hey, you can make money doing that, man. 5 out of 6 is excellent. So, guys, as always, like I said, the prize picks room is free in our free Discord. But obviously, the premium content that's going to come out. This has been excellent, Josh. I appreciate you as always. And guys, like I said, yourfielderschoice.com, at YFC Sports V12, at YFC Sports JSal10. We're out, man. Josh, have a good night, brother.
Yep. Thanks. You too, buddy.